Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Tsofanye. My name is Na Ajili Bojo. First of all, I'd like to apologize. It's been a while since I've done a video, and that's partly because I just finished my first term in my final year, and it wasn't easy being able to keep up with the modules and stuff. But I thought I'd come online to do this video before the year ends, to wish you all a happy and blessed 2021, but also to tell you a story which I hope will help you in the year ahead. So, as you know, I'm studying to become a herbalist, and since studying to become a herbalist, I have learnt so much about myself, and the story I'm going to tell you is just an example of one of the things that I have learned about myself, but has also made me realize certain things that go unnoticed, and what that may mean later on. So the story I have: once upon a time, no, that's not how I'm going to start. So a few weeks ago, I was basically told in advance that I'm going to take my first patient. Now, some people who know me see me as a very extrovert person, always up for things and always, making noise in a sense. But I'm actually quite introverted, and I do love my own space. And when I go into public spaces, I am beyond nervous. So anybody who's worked with me on something that I'm really passionate about will see how nervous I get. Now, this is like naturally me. But throughout the years, I've had very stressful moments, and I have had a lot of difficulties, and I felt like I was handling it quite well. But I think I meant handling it by the fact that people outside didn't notice. That's how I feel like I understood handling it. So I'm saying this and I'm giving this context because I was told I was going to have my first patient, and obviously my nerves went from 0 to 1 million. I can't even say 100 because 100 is nothing. It went from 0 to 1 million. And I was so nervous. Like, I had to book the afternoon off work to kind of prepare. And I really worked myself up. But I didn't realize how much I'd worked myself up until after I finished with the patient. So time now came to take the patient. I took the patient, and when I finished, I was like, was this what I worked myself up over? Like, did I work like I'm not as? Sometimes I feel I don't know anything, and I'm not as silly or as lack knowledge as I think I do. I do know something. I do know how to. I have learned something over the years, and what I'd realized is that I'd worked myself up so much that even after I finished the clinic, I was still like dealing with the aftermath of probably all the release of the hormones that in my bloodstream, and my anxiety and me feeling like I was still feeling it. But this time I realized that there was no reason for me to be feeling this way. But the moral of the story is, and what shocked me was, I found out on the Thursday, and I took the patient on the weekend. Within those, say, 48 hours, I'd worked myself up like a pro. Like, I did, like, if there's a way of saying it, I worked myself up with such efficiency. And I got all my body reacted in unison to the way I worked myself up. I thought to myself, to be able to have done this means that I've had a lot of practice at working myself up. Like, I have worked myself up so often that I have now got myself to the point where I can do it to a higher level within a short period of time. And that concerned me because that made me realize that I had been making myself nervous and stressing my body and stressing myself over things that, and putting my body through all of that over things that I really did not stress about. And not only was I doing that, but I was doing that without even thinking about it. There must have been some things at some point through the year or the year before that or the year before that I had stressed myself over and worked myself up so much so that now it's got to the point where I'm doing it like that. And then I started to realize that I need to become more present in myself and do regular check-ins. Don't wait for something to hit the fan. Don't wait for the problems to come before you start doing those regular check-ins to see where you are at in that moment. How are you feeling? Are you feeling anxious? If you are feeling anxious, why are you feeling anxious? Because my fear is I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to become so efficient that I'm actually going to do damage to myself and what I'm trying to achieve, because I've worked myself up so quickly and to a particular level. So I guess the moral of that story is that we need to do regular check-ins with ourselves. Even when things are going well, to do regular check-ins to assess where we are at the moment. Just kind of meditate within ourselves to try and understand where we're at. Where is our mind? If we're feeling slightly stressed, why are we stressed? What is making us that stressed? Now, it's one thing to be nervous. There's nothing wrong with that. But to do that to the extent that I did, to the extent that had it gone any more, I probably would have given myself like some spike in some way, or something that I'm perfectly good at, I would have done badly because I'd worked myself up so much and I'd done it often unchecked. So the idea is to just keep being present in the moment and keep being, analyzing your emotions and what you're thinking about and how you're doing that and how it might be impacting your life, taking notice of those really small things that are going on in your body. So I just thought I'd tell you that story in this essence, that we as human beings, we go through stressful moments. As a student, I go through very nervous and very stressful moments, and I work myself up. And although I'm learning, I'm now in my final year, I still get nervous. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to check on ourselves to the extent that we are expressing these emotions and what that means in terms of what we've been doing before that point. Because sometimes when we're in particular situations, what we express isn't as a result of what's happening in that moment, but of all the things that we were hiding within ourselves, all the stuff we were holding in expresses itself to that extent in that moment. And when you notice that happening, that's when you need to come back and check yourself. And this is one of the things that I'm learning as a herbalist. And I know going forward, when I'm starting to look at healing people and with plants and with nature, these are some of the things that are going to be going on with other people. They're not going to realize that they're doing this to themselves until something serious happens, or they have a health issue, and that health issue is as a result of all that nervousness they've held in, all that stress that they've held in, all those emotions that should have come out but they held in, and they didn't even realize what it was doing until it expressed itself in that point. So we need to learn to, in our daily practices, in our weekly practices, in our monthly practices, in our seasonal practices, even in our New Year practices, how to keep a check in on ourselves and make sure that we're okay, and how to read the signs when we're not okay. So I hope that story was useful to some of you, and I thank you very much for listening. But do give us some advice in terms of how you do your check-ins and stories that you have in terms of situations that you've been through. I wish you all a happy new year, and I pray 2021 is the year you walk your path with vim and with beauty, and don't think about anyone. Think of yourself and your spirit and what that's telling to you, and what your God is telling you, what your ancestors is telling you, what the energy is telling you. Take care, stay blessed, and wish you a blessed and happy 2021. Take care.